Today I'm going to talk about the strings that Stevie used to get his sound, or part of the reason he got his sound. The strings that you could use that would, help you kind of get his tone. Stevie used, the first thing is, Stevie used very, very thick strings. He used a large gauge string. And the first time I heard about it, I had already heard Stevie play a lot. And there was a magazine that said, oh, yeah, Stevie uses 13s. And I can remember just being so shocked because he could get around on a guitar so well that you would never think this guy was playing 13s. This is in an era where guitar players were using 8s, using 9s. A 9 was a normal set pretty much. And then some people went to 8s. If you played 10s, that was considered heavy back then. And even today, 10s are a heavier gauge of string on a guitar. And Stevie was using 13s. Now, you can see this is the number one right here. You can see when they lift it up, how thick. Look at how thick the low E string is. I don't know how well you can see it on this video, but I mean, it's huge. Look at it. It's gigantic. Look at his low E string. It's massive. So Stevie used really big, gigantic strings. Now, his set of 13s wasn't a straight set of 13s. It was 13, 15, 19, 28, 38, 58. So even when he was, quote unquote, using 13s, wasn't using a regular set of 13s. Now, most people can't handle these types of strings. So I'm going to suggest that you probably don't use 13s. I mean, if you want to try them, just put them on your guitar for fun. I used to put 12s on my guitar. That's as close as I could get. And they were hard to play. Just a set of 12s is hard to play. A set of 11s is challenging to play. You're going to have, some repercussion. Here's Stevie right here. Look at his fingers. I mean, they're just tore up. Another thing to consider is Stevie Ray Vaughan was, an alcoholic and into cocaine. He was, full-blown alcoholic, drinking a fifth a day, and doing coke. There was an old saying when you're drinking alcohol, I feel no pain. I'm feeling no pain after a certain amount of alcohol. So, that could have something to do with the fact that he could just wrestle around 13s. But look at his fingers. I mean, they're damaged. They are damaged. Look at that. I mean, they're just torn apart. Look at it. You can see the skin hanging off of it right here. So this is why I wouldn't suggest using 13s, because, you're going to have some sort of damage when you do. It doesn't come without its consequences. playing 13. So if you're going to go to a heavier gauge string, I mean, you know, it's rough. Now, Rene Martinez, who was Stevie's guitar tech, you know, was obviously, you know, aware of the fact that Stevie's fingers were getting ripped up. And in this interview, he talks about Stevie's fingers would bleed. And so he brought the high E string down to an 11. So he created a set, and he talks about it in this video. You can look it up, Hitting Easy, an interview with Rene Martinez, Breaking Strings. He talks about formulating a set of strings for Stevie. And Stevie had these strings made especially for him, you know, which is pretty neat. But they're called Nickel Rockers Pure Wound, Roller Wound Pure Nickel. They still make them right now to this day. Here's a set of them right here. This is a set of them. They still make these to this day. I don't know why it's not showing up, but that's it right there. Still make these to this day. You can order them online. I think I got these from Musician's Friend. And the gauges are 11, 15, 19, 28, 38, 58. And when I went to put these on one of my guitars and I put the 58 into the string, into the nut, it wouldn't fit. So I pushed it down and it broke the nut. So, I mean, you may not even be able to get these on your guitar. I couldn't get them on my guitar. But this string set right here is exactly what Stevie used to use. It was designed by Rene Martinez. And I mean, this is it right here. Nickel Rockers Roll Around Pure Nickel Set. And the gauges are, once again, 11, 15, 19, 28, 38, 58. This is the exact set that Stevie used. So, you know, if you want to give it a shot, you know, string up your guitar with those strings. You can also, you know, mess around with your custom gauges. You could go, you know, 11, 13, 17. I use 11, 13, and 17. Sometimes I use a set of 11s on a guitar with the high E string as a 10. That can also give you a little bit of a thicker sound. And the 11, the low E string is usually a 49. So it could be 11 through 48 or 11 through 49. But I'll play 11s with a 10 on the high E string. So when I'm bending, you know, the string with the most tension on it, it's the high E string, and it'll be a 10. And it'll still have a full round sound. My favorite set to use is a 10. This is called light top, heavy bottom. It's 10, 13, 17, 30, 42, 52. So you get some real funk on the low end with the 52 as your low E string. And you can manage the 10 and the 13 and the 17 on the high E, on the higher strings, on the plain strings. And then sometimes what I'll do is I'll take the 10 off and I'll put it 11. So it'll be 11, 13, 17. And that way, when I go to hit the high E, you know, it's real full sound. It sounds real full. That's one of my favorite sets: 11, 13, 17, 30, 42, 52. Light top, heavy bottom. That's what they often call it. With the 10 changed out to an 11. The other thing that Stevie did was he tuned down a half step. So when you're hearing Stevie in concert, he's tuned down a half step. He's tuned to E flat. And that helps take some of the tension off of these heavy strings. So if you are using heavy strings, you put 11s, 12s, you know, this set right here of Stevie strings on there, tune your guitar down a half step. and see what it feels like, because that's what Stevie did. Tune down a half step to E flat. So you're just, Jimi Hendrix did the same thing, but Jimi Hendrix used much lighter strings than Stevie Ray Vaughan. So when you are picking out your strings, just remember that when you are going to play heavier strings, it's going to be difficult. So my advice, if you want to work up to heavier strings, start with a set of 10s, just a regular set of 10s. Okay. And then try 10s with the heavy bottom, light top, heavy bottom. Okay. And then try 11s on there. Put a set of 11s on there. And then move up to this set right here. After you use 11s, move up to this set where it's 11, 15, 19. And the other thing is, even if you're playing a normal set of 10s, which is 10, 13, 17, Stevie was playing 11, 15, 19. So if you're playing your B string, you are playing a 13. You are playing the same gauge string as Stevie. It's not with as much tension because it's the B string, but you're playing that string. And the 17 is also a heavy plain string. So if you're using a regular set of 10s, play a lot on those strings. Play a lot on your B string and your G string. So instead of going up this way to the high E, go up this way on the B string. And then when you really want to blaze and get a really trebly sharp sound, then go up this way to the high E. But if you're playing on your B string, which is a 13, go up this way on it. So you can still maintain that heavy tone on that B string instead of going this way to the high E. That's one way you can compensate for not having a massive high E string. Or like I said, just replace your 10s, just replace your high E string with an 11, and you'll get a little bit more kind of roundness, kind of thickness out of it. And then, like I said, go to the heavier bottom strings. But, whatever you do, if you're on a quest for, the strings that you like, experiment. Experiment with the gauges. You might find you can play a G as an 18. So instead of 10, 13, 17, you might try 10, 15, 18. You might like that. You might like 11, 15, 18, and it might sound great. And you might be able to get around real easy. So just take note that it's going to be, a little challenging when you go up to higher, heavier gauge strings, but tune down a half step. That's going to help a little bit. Get your guitar set up nice. In terms of how high the strings are, Stevie's strings were very, very high off the fretboard. His strings, he had, quote unquote, high action, if you will. So in general, you want your strings a little higher when you're trying to get a tone out of the guitar. You want your strings to really ring out. So you're going to want a little bit of a higher action on your guitar. But once again, if you're comfortable, tune down half a step. Your strings aren't buzzing. They sound good. Put it where you're comfortable playing it. Stevie was comfortable playing his strings high. A lot of people are not. But one thing about the high action is your strings really ring out. And you want that ringing, clear, just absolutely clear tone when you're playing. Stevie used overdrive on his amps, which is, I'll talk about in another video, his amps. But the sound he was feeding into those amps was very clear. He wasn't a real sloppy guitar player. He was pretty exact in his note choice and the way his notes sounded out. They sounded out very clearly, and that kind of starts with an action that allows the guitar to ring out very clear and to sustain the note. So when you're setting up your guitar with these strings, you're going to want them a little on the higher side. Start with just what's standard setup. And then if it's not working for you and you're putting on heavier strings and you're not getting the clear tone, go down and raise the saddle pieces a little bit, raise them up a little bit, get your strings a little bit higher so you can hear the clear ringing tone that you get out of your guitar. So the heavier strings, just kind of go for a heavier string that's comfortable for you. Experiment a little bit with what you like. Tune them down a half a step to get the tension off of them a little bit. Tune them down a half a step, and then make sure that they're all ringing nicely up and down the neck. And that's pretty much the Stevie Ray string formula. Heavier gauge strings, higher action, and that's pretty much it. Just a heavier string, a higher action, and it's tuned down a half step. That's pretty much the Stevie Ray Vaughan string setup. So if you go from there, you'll be good.